Hello, welcome back to another video here at My Church Is Your Church. I'll get my sunglasses on because as you can tell, it's looking pretty bright out. I'm heading over to Holiday because I've been trying to hold out as my gas gauge has been shrinking lower and lower. And the reason I've been waiting so long is because today they're doing, I guess it's nationwide, wherever their stores are, Circle K Holidays. It's 40 cents off a gallon. And they're doing it from 4 to 7, I think, or something like that. And it's 2 o'clock right now, but I'm going to head over there early and just get ready so that way at 4, just in case it's super busy there, I can get it. I'm going to try to get it done right at 4 o'clock. So I figure I'll get ready so that way by 4 o'clock I can get it before rush hour when people are coming back from work and stuff. And we got another. Oh, I guess I got my radio on. Turn that down a little bit. Got a newer Nomad that's been here a couple days anyway. Yeah, you should be able to see it out the window there. It's that blue Sprinter van or something like that. I don't know if it's a Sprinter or if it's a Transit. I think it's a Sprinter. I'm not sure. One of the shorter models. I'm guessing it's like maybe 18 feet long. But it's been parked here a couple days now. Yeah, I've been still fighting the blues a little bit, trying to shake the funk. Hasn't sunk into me super deep, but it's just kind of lingering there, you know. Yeah, it's a Dodge Ram, so I don't know what the Dodge Rams are. Are they Transits or what? I can't remember. I don't know. Some type of Dodge Ram, though. But I'm guessing it's about 18 feet long. And depending on if he's been traveling or something, if he doesn't have work, it makes sense why he's just been sitting there a couple days, because I haven't seen anybody come or go from it yet. But of course, I'm not watching like a hawk or nothing either. You know, I've got my own stuff going on I've been dealing with. But I haven't seen anybody come or go from it, but he's been there a couple days. Alright, we better shut that off right away so I ain't burning fuel. So, I made it over here to Holiday. I pulled in here because their garbage dumpster's right there, and even though my garbage bag isn't full, because I just use the Walmart bags, I double bag them and I use that for garbage. And my fan just shut off. So, I was getting too much juice. And I think the charge controller I've got, I think there's something wrong with it. It still charges, but it doesn't cut off like it's supposed to. I wonder, maybe if I look at the pull up the instructions online. Maybe I can figure out if I can change that to where it'll limit the amount of voltage coming through. Because once it gets over like 15 volts of charging, because I got that charge controller I got going to my house battery that came with the camper. Once it gets over 15, somewhere over 15 volts of charging, my max air fan, I think it's like 12 to 14 volts or 14 and a half or 15 or something, I don't know. Maybe it's 12 to 16, I don't know. But once it gets, maybe it's at 16.1 volts it does it, but once the voltage goes to surpass what the max air fan will allow for safety, it breaks the circuit line and shuts itself down and doesn't let current come through. So then it automatically closes and shuts off the fan and everything. So when I got really good sun, what I used to do is I used to turn off the charge controller, disconnect the line when the battery was charged up, and during the day, unless I'd run it at 100%. But the problem I'm having now is that battery is shot, because even though it could be putting in good voltage all day, the minute I disconnect it, the battery voltage drops to like 10.6 volts right away, so the battery's toast. Either that or it's bubbled out and dried up inside of there, and I don't know, I can't remember if it's a sealed battery or not. I do have a second one in here because it's a marine battery. I just don't remember if they're sealed or not. But I've got one identical to it in here that I used to keep a separate little 60 watt solar panel hooked to, or 40 or 60 watt, and to keep that one charged. And so the one in here is in better shape, so I can swap them out. I might even do that yet today. Maybe I'll pull over there in a bit and park over on the corner and work on it over there. But I got to change too, because this is my only pair of overalls that are good, and I don't want to wreck them. So I'll have to change into sweatpants or something. Oh yeah, that's what I was saying about the garbage here. I'm going to throw out my garbage even though it's not full. Even though my mom's been passed away for 4 years now. Different things happen, and I can still hear her voice in my mind, you know, like for different situations, like stuff she would have said, you know. And one of them was like the garbage, even though it would be half empty, you know, like we got plenty of garbage bags or something, so I'd be like, she'd be like, throw out that garbage. I'd be like, it's not even full. I don't care, throw it out. Because then what'll end up happening is it'll end up being full, and then we'll have a full bag and another bag filling, you know, so just get rid of it. So every time that it wasn't full, if I'd say, well, it's not even full, she'd say, I don't care, throw it out. So I hear that a lot now, like, that's why, even though it ain't full, I joke as if my mom's still here, even though she's not. I'll joke, and I'll think about throwing something out, and I'll be like, well, it ain't even full. And then I'm like, okay, fine, I hear you. Fine, I'll throw it out. That's just me being silly with myself. But it's because it's, you know, the past now. It keeps her alive, you know, kind of. You know. I just went off into a quick zone land there when I said it keeps her alive. It made me think about how at different funerals, you know, it's been said different ways about how, you know, keeping somebody's memory alive, you know, and that as long as you talk about them and tell stories about the people you love or cared about that passed on, as long as you tell stories about them, you know, if your good memories with them or whatever, well, then their memory lives on, you know. And heck, look at some of the figures in history, our forefathers and stuff, you know. here it is hundreds of years later, and they're still known because people talked about them. You know, their stories, part of their stories kept alive. You know, and there's a lot of people out there that maybe didn't make it as an impact or something that you don't hear about them because people haven't kept their memory alive. I don't know. I just was thinking about some weird stuff there. So, like when my stepdad died, me and my mom would talk about him. Well, not every day, but we'd talk about him at least. I don't know. He came up a lot in conversation, you know, because he was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun together throughout life, all of us. And I would wish my I want to say rotten siblings, but not nice siblings, I'll say. I wish that they would have had more appreciation for our parents and found the time to make themselves spend time with our parents, because I got so many good memories with our parents. And it's turned into ugliness with my siblings, because once our parents died, they kind of like look at it like I was favored, and they were outcasts or something. And that ain't the case. I told my siblings ahead of time, years before my parents ever got sick and died, that I just forced myself into their lives, because our parents liked having their own little world and didn't like having company and stuff. They liked their own little privateness and stuff, which is fine, but I don't care. You're my mom and dad. I'm coming over. You know, I'm going to show up. And I didn't call either. I didn't call, because then if I called, that would give them the chance to say, well, no, we don't want company today or something. Well, then you'd really be defiant if you just showed up. So rather than calling, I just showed up. I'd be like, hey, what are you guys up to today? You know, and so they didn't have much of a choice. And of course, they weren't rude enough to make me stand outside. You know, well, there's a couple times I got shooed away, you know, where they just didn't want company or something. But I kind of had to train him. What I did was, like, I'd knock at the door, say, hey, you know, how's it going, you know, and when I first started doing it, because I knew they were getting older, and whether they wanted company or not, I wanted to spend as much time with them as I could before they're gone, because odds are, you know, they're older, they're going to die before me. You know? I mean, of course, I could have got hit by a bus or fell off a cliff when I was cliff climbing, or crashed my motorcycle doing something crazy, you know, when I do stunt driving or something. And anyway, so I'd show up in the beginning when I was trying to, like, train them, as I was saying. I was joking around about training them, because they're not pets or nothing, but even though I can train animals pretty good too. And so I just stopped real quick, say hi, how y'all been, blah 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 blah. Is there anything you need me to do, you'd like me to help you with real quick? You know, I just thought I'd stop, say hi, let you know I love you, and I'm gonna be on my way. You know, and when I go play pennies at the casino, that would be along the way, so I could just say, hey, you know, that way they knew I wasn't staying and I was gonna go play some pennies, and that way they get a short visit. I wasn't, you know, wearing them out or making them entertain me or nothing. And I'd always offer, what do you need done, you know, because they're getting older, you know. And who doesn't like somebody to do stuff for them, even if you ain't old? You know what I mean? When somebody's offering to service to do stuff for you, well, heck, that's kind of nice. When you don't save you a little time or have somebody do something for you, it's kind of nice to be waited on. So I figured that'll sell them. And it did. So, but then I ended up being the workhorse. You know, so, but as I do that, they got more and more used to me being around and just popping and going and stuff. Then I started being around more, and then, of course, Mom started making a regular list, and I wanted her to. She'd make a list of all the little doodad things that needed to be fixed, maintenance stuff or whatever. And Dad knew how to do a lot of mechanic stuff, work on the cars and stuff, but as he got older, you know, he got a little more lazy. You get older and your body don't have as much energy, so he isn't motivated to get out there. So next thing you know, Dad started putting some requests in about, hey, you know, I need you to fix the muffler on the car. You know, or one of the first big jobs he ever gave me was putting in a timing chain. And I I'd worked on little lawnmower motors and stuff before, but never done nothing that big. And boy, did I feel responsibility in that, because that was like the family car. That's when we were all still living together as kids. Us kids were still all at home and everything. And I was nervous. Dad said, no, the Magnum needs a timing chain in it. Here's the Chilton's auto manual. Here's the parts. He got me the timing chain and guides and all the stuff. And he said, here's the parts you need. Gasket kit, all that stuff. And he said, and I know you can do it. You know. And I did it. Put it all together, back together good, and car was up and running good. And I don't know how long they had that before they sold it. Because then they got that car. They ended up having it repainted too. It was like two-tone gray, like gray and slate gray. It was a fancy kind of, you know, boat of a car, family car kind of. So Dad could use it for business, but yet still haul the family in it. And it was sharp looking. Yeah, so that's how I'd get in with my parents and just start doing stuff. Well, because of that, because I was around them all the time, which I was the workhorse, like I said. So it wasn't that they favored me. It's that I was helping take care of them, making their life easier. Now, my other siblings, I'm not saying they're lazy about it, but they had their own things they chose were more important for them. They just chose different things. But now, once Mom and Dad died, then it became I was the bad guy, you know, because I was also around Mom and Dad. Well, I was the one that always did everything. And I don't regret it, you know, because that got me to spend more time around my parents, and I felt good doing things for them, even though I had my days where I was like, you need to do this and that, and I'd be like, oh, you know. So I wasn't all happy doing everything for them, but, you know, I wanted to do it. I did, even though sometimes they were tough, but I wanted to do it because they had done so much for me in my life. I figured that's the least I could do is do for them, you know. So as they're getting older, rather than them ending up in like an old folks home or something, you know, and they used to like taking their RV and going camping and stuff. So I just hung tight with them, and if they wanted to go camping, I offered to be there with them and go with them. So that way, all they had to do is I'd load it all up. Mom would start packing her clothes and then the kitchen stuff. Dad would pack up his soup bags and stuff, and then I would load it all into the camper. I put their bags, their clothes and stuff all in the back, because they had twin beds in the back of their Winnebago, and I put Dad's bags on his side, Mom's bags on her side, and then the food stuff I'd do last, because then once I got that to the camper, then Mom would come up to the camper and she'd put it all into the fridge and stuff in the cupboards, because she wanted it all in certain spots. Otherwise, if she didn't care where it went, I would have just started firing everything in there. But Mom wanted certain stuff certain ways, so as long as I transport all the heavy stuff, then she'd go in there and do the little knick-knacky stuff. And Dad, he was a Vietnam vet. So where are we at here? Oh, I guess we'll have to go into the next video. I was going to tell you a funny story about Dad with the Vietnam vet stuff. Let's keep loading the camper. Well, here we go, another video that just kind of traveled around with different stuff. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. God bless you. We'll see you on the next one.